Hello and I welcome you all to another class of the bureaucrats. In this video, we are going to discuss the local winds of the world through the map. So, let us first discuss about the local winds of USA. As we all know, in USA blow four local winds. Two of them are hot local wind, whereas two of them are cold local wind. So, let us discuss them in detail. So our first local wind is Chinook, which is a warm, dry, gusty local wind, which blew from the Pacific Ocean toward the interior of America. You may ask a question: if the wind is blowing from a ocean toward the land, why it is not wet? Why it is not carrying some humidity? Because of the process called adiabatic heating. As we know, this place in this place resides the majestic Rocky Mountain. When the wind from the ocean blew toward the Rocky Mountain, it gets ascended, and as it ascends, it gets cooled and precipitate at that place. Then it descends down in the leeward side and it get heated adiabatically. As the lower part of the atmosphere has higher density of air, it gets adiabatically heated and blew as a hot, dry and gusty wind. Clear? This wind is also known as snow eater because as we know this part is known as prairie grassland and this is often covered with snow. When the warm wind blew into this area, it melts the ice covers and make it conducible for the agriculture. Hence, the Chinook bears the name snow eater. Then our second hot wind, that is Santana. This wind blew from the interior of USA toward the Pacific Ocean. As we know, here lies the Mojave Desert or Mojave Desert, which comes under the high pressure belt of the world. So the high pressure wind blew from the Mojave Desert towards the ocean. In this process, here it also encounters the Rocky Mountain, hence it ascends off and then descends down, losing all its moisture in the same process as we discussed in the case of Chinook. It also loses its all the moisture and descends down and get further heated and blew as a hot local wind into the Los Angeles area. Clear? Okay. So we discussed two of our hot winds. One is Chinook, second is Santana. So now let's discuss about the blizzard. This blizzard is formed due to the inflow of Arctic winds into the interior of USA. When this Arctic wind, which is very cold, blew into the interior of USA, it encounters with the moisture, hence converting this moisture into the snow, causing a heavy snowfall. This condition is known as white out condition. It further reduces the temperature of interior of USA and causing a harsh winter in the USA. Clear? Then comes norte, which is also called as norther. This wind is also similar to the blizzard. It blows from higher altitude of cold region to lower altitude of warmer region, hence causing a reduction in the temperature. So it blows mostly in winter, blows from the northeast to the southwest along the coast of Gulf of Mexico. Clear? Okay. So with this we completed our four local winds of North America, one of which is Chinook. Then we read about the Santana. Then we read about the blizzard. Then we read about the norte. So now let's discuss about the winds of South America. First of them is Zonda, which is a hot local wind. It also blows from Pacific Ocean toward the interior of South America, especially Argentina. Clear? So this is a hot wind which blows from Pacific Ocean into the interior of South America. Clear? It also get adiabatically heated because, as we know, here lies the Andes mountain range, and as it moves from Pacific Ocean towards the South America, its ascends off, then gets cooled, precipitates, and then descends down, get adiabatically heated, then blows into the interior of South America. Clear? So this is a hot local wind. Clear? Then come the pampero, which is a cold local wind. As it blows from the higher latitudes in the South America toward the lower latitude, it brings the cold wind from the Antarctic region. It is a similar wind as the blizzard, but it is a little less in its intensity. Clear? So it brings cold and dry winds, and it can be very strong and gusty, reaching a speed up to 50 to 100 km. Clear? This brings sudden thunderstorm, heavy rains, and drop in temperature. Clear? So till now we have discussed 6 local winds. 4 of them are from North America, 2 of them are from South America. First was the Chinook, then the Santana, then Blizzard, then Norte, then Jonda, then Pampero. Clear? So let's move to another continent, that is Europe. So let's discuss the cold local winds first, then we will discuss about the hot local winds then. So first comes our Mistral. Mistral is blow in the Gulf of Lion. Sorry for the inconvenience. This is Mistral. This Mistral developed due to high pressure over the central France. As we know, the Europe lies to the north of Tropic of Cancer. That is why this is a cold place. Hence, the land get cooled faster, and the oceans remains warmer. So that is why this place develops a high pressure region, this place develops a low pressure region. So due to pressure difference between the interior of France and the Gulf of Lion, a cold wind blows from France toward the Gulf of Lion. Hence, this cold continental air is channeled through Rhone Valley and blow toward the Mediterranean region with increased acceleration. Clear? This is a cold, dry, and very strong wind, and that is why this calls cooling of this region. Is that understood? So let's discuss our next local wind, that is Levant or Levanter. The Levant or Levanter is also developed due to pressure difference. The Mediterranean Sea is a zone of high pressure, whereas the Atlantic Sea is a zone of low pressure. That is why the wind blows from high pressure zone to low pressure zone. As it flows to the Strait of Gibraltar, it gets a funneling effect and increases its speed. Hence, it blows as a cold, gusty wind. Clear? It creates Levanter cloud over Gibraltar. Here it creates the Levanter cloud. Clear? Next, we will discuss about the Bora, which is also a cold wind that blows in the Europe. Generally, the Bora is a result of katabatic cooling. It initially flows due to the pressure difference. As we know, the interior Balkan is a high pressure zone and the Adriatic Sea is a low pressure zone. So air blows from high pressure zone to low pressure zone. But during this time, it descends down from the Dinaric Alps. Due to the descending down of Dinaric Alps, it gets cardiabatic effect and gets further cooled. Hence, this Bora local wind is a cool local wind which blow from the interior of Balkans to the Adriatic Sea. Is that understood? So let's move to our towards our last cold wind, that is Etesian, or also known as Meltemi. Etesian or Meltemi. So Etesian is a phenomenon of summer. Etesian is a phenomenon of summer. This blew due to pressure difference between Central Europe and West Asia. West Asia. Okay, so we know the Central Europe generally is a zone of high pressure even in summer, and the Western Asia is of a zone of low pressure. That is why the air blows from the high pressure zone to low pressure zone. It blew as a cold wind, clear, as it passes the Black Sea. So it provides relief from heat in Greece, Turkey and Asian islands. Generally clear skies with no rain. Clear? So with this we have discussed all the cold winds of the Europe. Let us now move toward the hot winds. So here we will get two hot winds. One is foam and another is Sirocco. Clear? One is foam and other is Sirocco. Let's discuss both of them. The first we will discuss about the Sirocco. Sirocco, although a prominent phenomenon in northern Africa, still it also reaches towards the south of Europe. So that is why I am discussing the Sirocco in European region. It is locally known by different name in various regions. For example, Sirocco in Italy, Jugo in Balkans, then Givili in Libya. Here, when low pressure system develop over the Mediterranean and North Africa, air is drawn from the Sahara Desert, which is a high pressure zone. This air is hot and dry as it leaves desert. It crosses to Mediterranean Sea, but often it doesn't get too much into the interior. That is why it remains a dry and dusty wind. When it crosses the Mediterranean Sea, it creates rain as it picks up moisture from the Mediterranean Sea, and this rain falls down as a red wind. Sorry, a red rain, which is also called as blood rain. Clear? Okay, so Sirocco is a prominent phenomenon in North Africa. Sometimes it crosses the Mediterranean Sea and creates red blood rain in the South European region. Clear? Then we will discuss about the foam. The foam is also similar in nature to what we discussed about Chinook and Jonda. The foam originates in the Adriatic Sea, then enters into the landmass, then encounters the Alps mountain, ascends off, get cooled, rains there, then descends down and blows as a gusty dry wind. Clear? I have mentioned detail about the foam wind here because I did not get a suitable place here. So if you want the PDF of this lecture, I will provide the detail in the description box. Please check out there. So with this we have discussed all the local winds of Europe. First we discussed about Mistral, then Levant, then Bora, then we discussed about Etesians. Clear? Then we discussed two of the hot winds, that is Sirocco and foam. With this we completed our European region. Let's discuss all the local winds of the Africa. In Africa, mainly four hot local winds blew, one of which was Sirocco, which we have discussed in the European zone. So we will discuss about Hermonton, then Khamsin, then Berg and Habub. Okay, so now let us discuss about the Hermonton or Doctor wind. So this Hermonton is blown due to the strengthening of northeast trade wind. When the northeast trade wind blow, it carries some dust and it blew toward the southwest region. It also creates an healing effect of the countries residing near the Atlantic coast, hence called as doctor wind. Clear? I have provided with some informations. If you like, you can remember all of them. Then we will discuss about the Khamsin. Khamsin. In the winter, a low pressure zone is created along this area. That is why it draws the wind from the Sahara Desert. As this wind blow, it carries some dust and it blow as a dusty dry wind in the region of Egypt, some western Arabian countries like Saudi Arabia and some adjacent countries. Clear? Then we will discuss about the Berg, which is a prominent local wind in South Africa. This wind also somewhat similar with the Chinook. When the interior South Africa or highlands develop a high pressure zone, the wind blow from the highlands toward the coast. When it blow, it descends down from the highland toward the plains and hence get adiabatically heated and blow as a hot and dusty wind. Clear? So Berg is a local wind of the South African region. Clear? Then comes the Habub. The Habub local wind doesn't have any particular direction. It can flow in any direction. Clear? The Habub is created due to the thunderstorms, breaking down of the thunderstorm. When a thunderstorm breaks down, the air descends down toward the desert and this results the creation of dots escaping the surface and moving in certain directions. Clear? Usually triggered by the thunderstorm in desert region. When thunderstorm collapse, downdrafts rush toward the ground. It says the downdrafts rush down toward the surface. Hence, the strong downdrafts hit the surface and spread outward, lifting up dust and sand into the air. This creates a huge moving wall of dust. Dust can be moved to a several region. Even it reaches into the Arabian land. Clear? So with this, we have discussed about the local winds of Africa also. Then we are left with two continents. One is Asia, another is Australia. So let us first discuss about the local winds of Asia. So in this region blow three prominent local wind. One is Buran, other is Karaburan, then our Loo. So let us first discuss about the Buran. Buran is a cold local wind which blow from the Siberian region to the steppes of Central Asia. Clear? As we know, this is a intense high pressure zone due to the low temperature. Hence, the air with lowest temperature blow toward the steppe. Clear? When it blow in summer, it collects the dust from the accompanied region and hence creates a dust storm. But when it blow in winter, it brings the snows. Clear? It is a very cold, dry and violent wind which blow into the steppes of Central Asia. Then the Karaburan, it is originated in the Central Asia and Siberia, especially under the Siberian high winter. The reason for both the wind Buran or Karaburan is same, the Siberian high. Bitterly cold, dense Arctic Siberian air rushes southward into the Central Asia, carries snow in winter and dust in summer, depending on the ground condition. So, in nature, in characteristic, both the Buran and Karaburan are similar. Then our hot wind, that is Loo, also known as Kal Vaisakhi. Clear? Origin forms over the Thar Desert. Forms over the Thar Desert due to the intense heating of Sahara Desert. When the Sahara Desert is heated intensely, then the surrounding cool air rushes into this place. Then this accumulated cool air flows in the areas of low pressure zone where the area is heated superly, hence providing a cooling effect. Clear? So this is known as Loo, very hot, dry and dusty wind, but it has a cooling effect. Blows during afternoons of May and June. Temperature may reach 40 to 50 degree. Causes heat stroke and dehydration. Dies out with the arrival of southwest monsoon. Clear? Okay. With this, we have completed our region of Asia. Now we can discuss about the Australian continent. So here blows two winds. One is Brickfielder, which is a hot wind. Another is southerly buster. So Brickfielder is a hot wind. Due to intense heating of this region, it also creates a low pressure zone. Hence the surrounding air moves toward it, and accumulated surrounding air blows toward the along the highly intensely heated regions, same as the case of Loo. Now our southerly buster. Southerly buster is created due to the exchange of air masses. When a cold air mass blow into the interior of Australia, it encounter with a warmer air mass. This interaction create a passage for the cold air to move through the eastern coast of Australia, particularly in New South Wales and Victoria. This creates a cold, gusty, violent coastal wind to flow in the Australia. Clear? So characteristics of this southerly buster: this is a cold, gusty and violent coastal wind. Sudden temperature drop up to 10 to 15 degrees Celsius within minutes, often accompanied by squalls, thunderstorms and rough seas. It is short-lived but very intense. Clear? With this, we have discussed all the local winds of the world. If you find this video informative or helpful, please consider giving a like, and please subscribe the channel if you have not already, and we will meet in another informative video. Till then, take care. Goodbye.